the clerk of National Assembly that is talking about, waiting for the matter at the appeal court to be sorted out before they will make a decision on her return. The question is this: when this matter started, if you remember, there was a case filed by Natasha to stop them from suspending her. That matter was in court. But they still went ahead. They rejected what the court said and still went ahead to do what? To suspend her. So they choose when to obey court instructions or court orders and when not to obey it. They cannot hold her back from resuming her legislative function, citing that the matter is still in the appeal court. That is wickedness. That shows a clear cut that these guys are trying to suppress this woman and trying to kind of utilize her tenure, forgetting that they are not, kind of inflicting pain on the woman. Rather, they are inflicting pain on the people of Kogi Central. That's exactly what they are doing. Because for the past 6 months, the Kogi Central people have no representation. You don't understand these people. The way they function, they assume that once they have power, that they are God. They can do and don't do. That's the way they think and that's the way they behave. They see other people as a mere subject, other people as mere tool they can trample upon and march on their heads. That's exactly what they are doing. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Andy Media TV. You may recall that some months ago, roughly 6 months ago, there was a kind of a brouhaha, in the Nigerian National Assembly, particularly the Senate, the Red Chamber, when Senator Natasha Akpoti was suspended in the Senate for 6 months. And this was at the wake of her, rejection to sit in the newly assigned seat to her. So she was, not allowed to make her contribution on the floor of the Senate. This is because every senator is expected to make contribution on the floor of the Senate based on the seat allocated to them. So on that very day, Natasha was not sitting on the newly allocated seat given to her. So based on that, the Senate president turned her request, down from contributing into the matter of discussion. So she kind of flared up, which led to the Senate president requesting her to be taken out of the National Assembly by the sergeant at arms, that is the security, guarding the National Assembly. So at the end of the day, there was a lot of back and forth, which led to Natasha challenging, the suspension in court. And don't forget, the suspension was for 6 months. And this happened, I think that was 4th of March or thereabout, when the suspension was read out on the floor of the Senate by the Senate president. And Natasha has already, filed a petition, to the Ethics and Privileges Committee, requesting that they investigate the sexual, harassment allegation against the Senate president, Senator Akpabio, by Natasha Akpoti. So there are quite a whole lot of things happening at the same time on the speed of light. So based on all these things, Natasha was suspended from the Senate for 6 months, and her security was withdrawn, her salary was suspended, virtually everything, privileges she has as a senator was taken away from her. And that was how she was even barred from, making appearance in the National Assembly. So she left, and that was it. So, but, the fireworks continue in the court, and some months back, I think there was a judgment in court, in respect of, her case where she filed challenging the suspension. And when the judgment came out, I think, where the court upheld that, that the Senate has the right to kind of, correct their erring members, and that the Senate, suspending her is not in a bad light in terms of their rules, but that the duration of the suspension was excessive. If you remember that judgment, that made Natasha to return back to the National Assembly to resume her duties. When she was barred at the gate, she was not even allowed with her team, to get into the National Assembly complex, because that judgment was kind of confusing. A lot of people took it that the court has lifted a suspension and stuff like that. But what the court was trying to say, because it was not part of the prayer, all right? So the court was trying to recommend that the Senate, the number of days, the 6 month suspension was excessive. And I think by the Senate legislative rules, I think it's about 14 legislative days. That's the maximum, days you can suspend, a member of the National Assembly. But the Senate has been doing this kind of, high-handedness. They suspended Senator Alin Dume. They suspended Jubril Aminu in the House of Reps then. And there's another senator that was also suspended for a lengthy period like that. So, but I think Natasha is the highest. I think others have been like 3 months and stuff like that. But Natasha has been for like 6 months. So, in public service, particularly in Nigeria, fighting these gladiators is not an easy task, because they have all the instrumentalities of government around them to fight you and to make sure that they extinct you from the process. They make sure that you never exit, that they kill your career. That's how they operate. They are too vicious. These guys that are, holding power, they are holding sway in government. They are too vicious because they believe that they are God because of the kind of paraphernalia that they control. They have all the agencies of government in their pocket. So that's what they do. So that's what we are seeing going on between Natasha and the Senate President. If you recall, even the federal government, filed a case against Natasha, on behalf of the Senate President and former governor of Kogi Central, Akpabio, if you recall. So the videos are there on my channel. So if you remember, the federal government, being the arbiter for the Senate President and former governor Akpabio. So that becomes ridiculous. Instead of the government to kind of mediate between these parties, what the government did was to pick a side. They supported the Senate President and his crew. So how can the federal government be the one adjudicating a case for the Senate President? The Senate President has the resources to sue Natasha Akpoti and defend himself, against her and do whatever he want to do, buy any lawyer he want to buy, any son. Why he can do that? He has the resources. But when you look at it, he's hiding under the instrumentalities of the state to fight Natasha. That is why he's using the National Assembly to suppress her. He's also using the federal government to also suppress the lady. That's what it is. So the point is that there was a decision of the Senate suspending Natasha for 6 months. Now that the judgment of the court came out, I think Natasha, the case, Senate President also made an appeal, and the case went on appeal. All right? So the case is in the appeal court as we speak, and yet to be decided. Now, on the 4th of September 2025, Natasha wrote to the Senate, informing them that she's ready to resume her legislative duties, having served the full 6 months, which was supposed to elapse by, I think she's supposed to resume by 6th of September. So she wrote them on the 4th, giving them like 2 days notice that she's about to resume her legislative duties. But shockingly, the clerk of the National Assembly wrote back, telling her that she cannot resume, that it is sub judice to the case that is in the appeal court, that she has to wait until the appeal court have decided the matter. When I read that, in fact, I just busted into laughter and said, these guys are just using federal might, government might against this lady just to suppress her. The question I have was, what is the connection between the matter that is at appeal court and the 6 month suspension she has fully completed and served? You punish somebody that she has to serve for 6 months. That was 6 months punishment, and she served it from day one to the end. She has completed that task that was given to her. So what is stopping her from resuming her duties? Because they say that the matter is still pending in the appeal court. It has nothing to do with the suspension. And I will explain. The point is that if the matter is in the appeal court, it has nothing to do with her resuming her legislative duties, because she has completed the punishment that was meted to her, which even the court upheld that, yes, it's good to punish erring members, but the duration, the lengthy time of 6 months is excessive. Having said that, she still served that 6 months, and the 6 months has elapsed on the 6th of September. She's supposed to resume her responsibility. However, the Senate is in 2 months recess, which they are supposed to resume on the 23rd of September, 2025. So it was expected that on the 23rd of September, she too will be resuming her duties. And writing the clerk of the National Assembly is for them to be able to restore, all her privileges, her security, her salaries, and whatever that was taken off from her when she was suspended, so that they will reinstate all those things. So that on the 23rd, when the National Assembly is resuming, the Senate is resuming, she will also be resuming on that day. So what is the argument of the clerk? So what they are saying is something that is so ridiculous. And like one of the lawyers I was listening to, Iniebehe Effiong, Barrister Iniebehe Effiong, he said something. If somebody did something, right, and he was caught and sent to court, and the court sentenced him for 6 months in prison, and this person was moved to maybe Kuje or Kirikiri area correctional facility, and the person served the 6 months. But while serving the 6 months, they filed an appeal challenging why he was even arrested in the first place, and all those kind of charges that was meted on him. He was challenging it, but yet he's still serving the court sentence of 6 months. And now that he has finished serving the 6 months in court, with the prison officers, the correctional facility officer, we then have said no, they will not release him having served the 6 months, that they have to wait till the appeal in court is determined. No, they cannot. Have you served your 6 months? Yes, and they release him to go. Whatever happens in the appeal court and all that, if there's a new judgment that said he need to be rearrested, then they can rearrest him and bring him back to the prison. But not to hold him there after he has finished serving his tenure. That is exactly what the National Assembly is doing. They cannot hold her back from resuming her legislative function, citing that the matter is still in the appeal court. That is wickedness. That is wickedness. That shows a clear cut that these guys are trying to suppress this woman and trying to kind of useless her tenure, forgetting that they are not, kind of inflicting pain on the woman. Rather, they are inflicting pain on the people of Kogi Central. That's exactly what they are doing. Because for the past 6 months, the Kogi Central people have no representation. Nobody is speaking for them. Nobody is representing them. And now, after 6 months, you still want to extend it. And they will not delay the issue in the appeal court to make sure that it is heard in maybe a week to their tenure to finish. You don't understand these people. The way they function, they've assumed that once they have power, that they are God. They can do and don't do. That's the way they think, and that's the way they behave. They see other people as a mere subject, other people as mere tool they can trample upon and march on their heads. That's exactly what they are doing. The same way Senate President was elected was the same way Senator Natasha was elected. They have the same rights as Senator. The only difference was that when they were looking for leadership, Senate President, came out to contest, and he was put in there by the president of the country, obviously. And now that is the Senate President, and they now have the mantle to kind of, make decisions and become the chairman of the National Assembly. That is just the difference. They came in the same way. They have equal rights. The only difference is that this one was, voted to become a leader of the members. That is just the difference. So, by the way they are treating the woman, just because she was alleging sexual harassment against the Senate President, which is a personal issue. So there are 2 issues in question. Issue number 1 is that the Senate, suspended her for insubordination. What is the insubordination? She refused to sit in her allocated seat, and she wanted to make contribution on the floor. And when she was refused, she created a scene which led to her suspension. That is on one hand. On the second hand is a personal issue between Senator Natasha, where she is, accusing or alleging that the Senate President, sexually harassed her. That's a personal matter between her and Senator Akpabio. That one has nothing to do with the National Assembly, as it were. It's Akpabio that is suing, not the National Assembly. So the issue there is that the man in question, the Senate President, was using her political position to suppress her in the Senate, because she has alleged that many times she brings up a bill, to the National Assembly, the Senate President will step them down. They don't read them in the floor of the Senate. That even the husband has gone several times to intervene on her behalf, and some other senators, and still they continue to suppress her just because she refused to play ball with the Senate President, according to what she said. So now she's paying the price. That's exactly what is happening. And the price, don't forget that this same group of people planned and worked so hard to recall Senator Natasha, but it failed. To the point that until INEC stepped in and then declared that the recall cannot work because they did not meet, the quorum as specified by the Constitution. That's how she escaped the recall. So they have tried all possible means to see how they will remove this woman from being a senator. And now their intention now will be leveraging on the appeal court, and they will delay that case in appeal court until it will be closed for Natasha to end her tenure. That is exactly the plan. And even if appeal court decide that case, they will file another appeal to Supreme Court. They will continue to, take the matter from one court to another. And they will continue to leverage and be telling her that you can't resume until this case is heard in court. That is the plan. So, but the point is, I've said this in virtually all my videos. If Natasha has alleged that Senate President sexually harassed her, why are they shielding proper investigation in that matter? That is my question. Because they were supposed to have allowed the, not even the Ethics and Privileges Committee, because those people are already biased. They are already on the side of the Senate President. Very clear. So there's no point even moving the matter to Ethics and Privileges. They would look for independent, party that will investigate the matter and look at all the evidence, whatever she has as evidence, and then be able to make their report, public. And then we'll be able to know if she's lying. If she cannot prove it, then Senate President can, take her to court for defamation and demand whatever he needs to demand from her. But the point is that they are suppressing investigation in the sexual allegation issue. He went to Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee. They frustrated it there. It didn't happen. So why didn't they allow it to happen? Why didn't they allow proper investigation in the matter? They continue to find a way. Immediately, she brought it to Ethics and Privileges Committee. They suspended her immediately. That was what they did. And here we are up to today, 6 months after that allegation. There's no investigation. So what does that tell you? So what are they hiding? What are they shielding? Rather, they are looking for a way to suppress the woman so that her voice will be stifled. But Natasha is a lawyer. Senate President is a lawyer. And she's not just an ordinary woman. So I don't think they will succeed in whatever they are trying to do with her. So the point is that the National Assembly and the clerk of National Assembly that is talking about, waiting for the matter at the appeal court to be sorted out before they will make a decision on her return. The question is this: when this matter started, if you remember, there was a case filed by Natasha to stop them from suspending her. That matter was in court. But they still went ahead. They rejected what the court said and still went ahead to do what? To suspend her. So they choose when to obey court instructions or court orders and when not to obey it. So they still went ahead to suspend her, despite that she has filed a case in court challenging the suspension they want to put met on her, because that order that came from the court was trying to stop them from suspending her. Rather, she wants the Ethics and Privileges Committee to investigate, the matter. So what happened? So why is it now that they know that court is important? So when he favors them or when he suits them, they want to wait for the court. When it doesn't suit them, they go ahead and do whatever they want to do. That's when they will tell the judiciary that there is separation of power. They cannot tell them what to do. That's exactly what it is. So remember, even in the judgment that is going on appeal now in the appeal court, the court said that her suspension, the period of her suspension is excessive, that the Senate should revisit, that suspension period. Did they do anything? No, they didn't. So Nigeria is turning to a seriously lawless country, because you can't tell me that in Nigeria, when a court says something, the National Assembly will say no. Even in America, the president launches initiative. You will see, even when the injunctions are not supposed to be, but the president will say respect those orders from the court and follow the process, go up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will give a decision, and then most of those court orders were turned down by the Supreme Court, and the president will continue to do what he's supposed to do. Whichever one the Supreme Court upholds, the president will reverse. But in our case, it's different. As I speak now, the suspension of Sim Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, is still there. The case is still in court. The Supreme Court has refused to hear that case. They have not had that case. And the suspension will end this month, the 6-month suspension. In a country where an elected governor is suspended by an elected president, where does it happen? It doesn't happen. The judiciary that's supposed to come in and review the case immediately and then hold the president to account that what you did is against the Constitution. But what are they trying to do? They want to just lie low for that 6 months to elapse. That's exactly what they are doing. So what is the point? How are we learning? How are we strengthening our democracy? Because if the Supreme Court has taken that case and had a decision and making the president to reverse that order, next time no president will institute state of emergency and suspend an executive governor or the National House of Assembly. So now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has set up a bad precedent in that regard. In the next dispensation, if another president comes in, he can just suspend another governor and put a state of emergency because there's a precedent. So the Supreme Court intentionally allowing these 6 months to elapse for Fubara before they can now give a judgment. By then, they are not kind of interfacing or kind of disrupting the president plan for Rivers State. That's what it is. So you can see the judiciary, the legislature are all working for the executive. They are not working for the people. So when you see these guys in National Assembly tell you they are representing good people of social constituency, that's a lie. They are representing themselves and they are representing the president. So how can the judiciary sit and this whole thing is happening and they keep mute? Look at how the whole system is upside down. Tell me which investor is going to come to a country where there's no rule of law. There's no investor that comes in a country where there's no rule of law, because there's no hope for them. If they have any issue and go to court, there's no way they will get justice. That's what it means to them. And that's why, if you like, travel to the whole world, you won't see any investor coming in to invest. That is the truth. So we need to do better. We need to do better. This woman has served her 6 months already. So nobody should stop her from resuming her legislative duties. The matter in court, the matter in the appeal court will take its course. When it's elapsed, that's fine. It has nothing to do with the suspension, with her 6 months suspension. It has nothing to do with that. So the issue in the appeal court has nothing to do with her 6 months suspension, which she has already served out. So even if there's any issue concerning her 6 months suspension, it's null and void now because she has served it. So there's no point. There's no point. She has served it already. So for them to stop her and still putting hurdles on her path, that shows you this is a personal vendetta. That shows you this they are trying to suppress the woman. They are trying to shut her down at all cost. That's exactly what they are doing. So in as much as at the beginning, when this whole thing started, I made it clear that Natasha should have, understood the rule of the Senate and follow it, because it's binding on all of them. Now that she has missed it, she didn't sit in her seat and created, some tension on that day. She should have apologized. That, oh, all right, I'm sorry for not speaking for my seat. This. That they wouldn't have suspended her, because when you are dealing with your enemies, you need to understand their strategies, and you block their strategies so that they will not have leeway to, cage you in. That's exactly that incident of not sitting in her seat is what created this room for all this thing that was happening. However, if that incident didn't happen, I don't think Natasha even would have come out to talk about the sexual harassment at the same time. So I think she leveraged on that incident to be able to push out her, sexual harassment issue that she said she has been going through in the hands of the Senate president. So whatever it may be, I think she kind of used that scenario to launch out her pain, what she's going through in the National Assembly. I think that's what it is. So that's why, talking about apologizing and all that, she didn't see it as anything. She wanted to kind of push out what she has been hiding in her mind for years. That's what it is. So, well, I don't know, but I think the Senate, they are not doing, the proper things. That's why I said, most cases, the people making laws are the lawbreakers. That's what it is. Which senator have they suspended for 6 months? It's only Natasha. She's a woman. So this is the time. This issue is not about Natasha now. This issue is about Nigeria. Because as they set any precedent, it will begin to happen on other people. So those senators now who are there, keeping mute, supporting the Senate president, standing behind him, don't worry, 10th Assembly will soon come and go. Maybe by the 11th Assembly, it won't be Senator Akpabio again as the Senate president. The table will turn. This same group of people who are supporting this evil, this whole thing will start affecting them by that time. They will be suspended for 6 months, and then they will see what is involved in this whole process. So evil you don't condemn today stands tall, and it will hunt you down tomorrow. That's exactly what it is. So the 10th Assembly will be remembered for being a parastatal of the executive. They will be remembered for being docile. They will be remembered for doing nothing for Nigerians. They will be remembered for approving all kinds of loans and putting Nigeria in perpetual debt. That's what they will be remembered for. They will be remembered for buying SUVs for themselves. That's what they will be remembered for. They will be remembered for passing serious bills in 2 hours. That's what they will be remembered for. So there's nothing in the mind of Nigeria that they can point and say that National Assembly has helped to bring into the country. Nothing. That's nothing. So they will be remembered for suppressing a woman, for pushing her voice out there. That's what they will be remembered for. And that's quite sad. I keep watching all these senators that they see that everybody is quiet, nobody is talking, nobody is, everybody is afraid to talk. I don't know what is going on in that National Assembly. It works like a cabal committee. Nobody talks. People are just, anybody that says anything. Look at Abudu Ninge, came out the other time, spoke, they suspended him. That's exactly what happens there. The moment you speak against the Senate or speak, now they are even attacking the Speaker of the House of Reps, because he was talking about the debt, that our debt profile is, kind of increasing, that government need to kind of do a step back. The people are already attacking him. How can he say that? And the guy was like, oh, I didn't say I was misquoted. Oh, that's fine. No problem. So the point is, wherever you occupy, the first thing you should ask yourself, what will I be remembered for? That is the point. What will I be remembered for when I'm no more in this position? That is what you will ask yourself. So if what you are doing is evil, please change. Change. There's no point trying to truncate this woman from resuming her legislative function. They should remember that it's the people of Kogi Central that is suffering, not Natasha. Natasha is not the one suffering. She's already a senator. It's in the record. She's a senator. Even if she doesn't resume till the 10th Assembly elapsed, she's a senator of the Federal Republic. It doesn't matter. She's okay. She's fine. So it is the constituency people that are suffering. The things she would have brought to her constituency, she cannot. So whatever you guys are doing is not her you are hurting. After all, she was not a senator before. She is, she feels, she goes everywhere she wants to go. She do everything she wants to do. So she's not broke. She's not poor. So whatever, even if they withdraw all her salary, it matters nothing. So the point is, if she has served her term as prescribed by the National Assembly, what is holding her from resuming? The day she was suspended, there was nothing about court issue surrounding her suspension. It was very clear that she's hereby suspended for 6 months for insubordination. And she has served the 6 months. So why are you tying her resumption to what is going on in the appeal court? Why? So, I don't know. Anyways, guys, I think Nigerians need to speak up. You can see what is going on in Nepal, where the citizens rose up and burned down the legislative, assembly, because they said, what kind of laws are they doing that we are suffering? And only them and their family are enjoying life. And they rose up and started attacking everyone, including the cabinet ministers, even the Supreme Court. So that is what you see. When people get too frustrated for the kind thing these people in power does, you see them revolt. But Nigeria not go through that channel. So those in power should learn to do what is right, should learn to work in the interest of the people. That's when that seat where you are is guaranteed. So when the time comes, don't forget those guys in Nepal, the legislative guys in Nepal, even the Supreme Court and other cabinet ministers. But don't forget that they also have security. But when the matter starts, how many people will they kill when the whole crowd comes out? How many bullets do they have in their guns? So how many people will they shoot? That is the point. So don't push Nigerians to get to the point that they will start revolting against what you guys are doing. They have endured enough. They have endured enough. So if you're in position of power, use that position for the betterment of the people. That is why you are there. If you are new to my channel, kindly like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those to be notified. So I'm going to see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. I'm signing out. See ya.